Welcome to Wayne County Connection. I'm your host, Micheal Sweigart. Thanks for joining us as we promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. We do that each month by featuring individuals and the agencies that they represent and what they're doing to make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. And we encourage you to get connected and do your part as well. You can do that first by visiting our website and touching base with our guest today. You can follow up. There will be links for you to do that. And you can also check out past programs and the agencies and individuals that we have featured over the past few years here that are making Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. You can also visit the waynet.org calendar and find out the events that are going on in and around our communities here in Wayne County, and also find from our webpage, waynet.org/cc, links to the streaming and on-demand versions of our program. We are very blessed to be, as most Whitewater community television programs are, streamed live during their airing time, but for those people who don't have Comcast cable and don't get this as public access, you can share this online. Our program, like many others, is available on demand, and you can find out information from our website or from the Whitewater Community Television homepage. So thanks for joining us to our show today. Today we have Phil Stevenson, and he is the Superintendent of Schools of Centerville-Abington School System, and we are pleased to have him on the show. Phil, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
A lot has changed in the 5 years since you've been on our show last, and the first thing we'd like to do is, for those who may not know you yet, is make the connection. So I'd like to ask you to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and your connection here in Wayne County.
Okay, so I'm actually from Randolph County, graduated in 1968 from Randolph Southern High School. In 1972, Centerville hired me as a social studies teacher, so I was a social studies teacher from 1972 until 1985. In 1985, I became the assistant principal at Centerville Senior High School, and was assistant principal until 1993. And then 1993, I became high school principal until 2005. And then in 2005, I became superintendent, and so that's kind of the way it's been. I've been here since 1972, and I've lived in Wayne County since 1976. Okay. So I've been a resident of Wayne County a long while, and I've really enjoyed my tenure there at Centerville-Abington Community Schools.
And you've seen some changes over the years at Centerville.
Yes. Many changes, many physical changes as far as the amount of building that has gone on, expansion, updating, and we're still doing that. We're getting ready to add on 16 classrooms to Centerville-Abington Elementary. We have an older building for the 5th and 6th grade from 1921, so the board approved last month to replace that building and add on 16 new classrooms to Centerville-Abington Elementary. Educationally, of course, we've seen a lot of changes over the years, really with a lot of state and federal regulations that we used to not have to follow, and they're implemented all the time, and that's a constant change. But it's been a very nice community, a small community. We're considered rural, but we do have a lot of suburban influence on the west side of Richmond, over west of Salisbury Road to Round Barn. It's a lot of the suburbs there. Then you go to Abington, a small rural area. You have a lot of students at Centerville schools that have Richmond or Abington addresses. Around 27% of the students are transfer students. The largest number are from the Richmond area. We do have a number of students from Hagerstown and also Cambridge City, some from Connorsville, some from Union County, but the largest bulk of them are from other schools. And that's been a change rapidly over the recent number of years. It's been really a big change. There have been a lot of changes in the opportunities that students and their families have as far as choosing their school and so forth. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. I have some specific questions. But one of the things that I'd like to get right off the top is, and you kind of alluded to it already, is what are some of the academic achievements that Centerville-Abington schools have had over the past few years? Well, ever since I've been at Centerville, and for many years before that, Centerville's been known for its academics. So we have a great vocational program too, which we send our students to Connorsville for, and we send 2 bus loads down there. Approximately 80 students go to Connorsville every day. And But we've also tried to emphasize over the years academics. So our test scores have always been the highest in the area. We challenge our students, and we're proud of that. And so our academic performance has been a major draw for us from as far as getting transfers and so on. And most of them will say, I was on your webpage, we looked to see, how your test scores are. So that's been a major one. With this new iLearn test, it's been a challenge because the way that we used to have iStep, about every 2 years we are changing tests, so it's hard for the teachers to anticipate what to teach and what we're planning to do. This year we're looking at the iLearn test and trying to improve on it. So we're visiting various schools in the state trying to find out what they are doing that is making their test scores better than ours. So far this year we've visited Brownsburg schools outside of Indianapolis. We've gone to Eastern Hancock schools that they had very high test scores in math. Also Monroe Central schools. So we're looking at some schools that are much larger than us, like Brownsburg.
Right.
We're also looking at some schools that are smaller, more our size, to find out what they are doing so we can tweak what we're doing in the classroom. So,
And Eastern Hancock has a very similar demographic to
yes,
Centerville.
very much. So Monroe Central is a little smaller, but yes,
Right.
they're very similar in size. So we're trying to find out what these schools are doing. So we're just not resting on what we've been accomplishing. We're trying to improve on what we're doing down the road. So we're taking a lot of teachers, some administrators, a couple of board members to see what these other schools are doing. So it's an improvement process that I think is very important for a school to be able to sustain and improve. You just don't want to rest back and say, well, we've been doing well in the past. We're not real happy with some of the test scores. We saw that we can improve, and we're just trying to find some other ways that we can do that.
Right.
And there's a lot of examples out there, a lot of theories, but with this new test, you just don't know, because there's no way of comparing a test to what you've previously done, because every 2 years they change it. So it's almost like you have to go out and see what other schools are doing that you can compare to. Socioeconomic that you mentioned is a very important factor.
Right. Then, and two things you just mentioned, the socioeconomic factors and then the vocational program as well. A lot of times we think of academics and we think only of college preparatory classes, but that was kind of a shift. I mean, when you started teaching, a high school diploma was an excellent achievement, and they were starting to have the push for everybody goes to college and so forth. And now we're coming back to a point where, look, there are a lot of things you can do that don't require a 4-year degree that are not only good careers, but you can make good money at them. And the vocational aspects that we talk about vocational, with electricity, electrician, HVAC, even the nursing program is involved with the vocational education there at Connersville.
Yeah, and part of that at Centerville, our high school is growing rapidly. So this year we added another English teacher, we added a social studies teacher, and we added a business teacher because we saw that was a vocational need. So to try to address some of the issues that the state is encouraging us to do, we decided to add 3 teachers there, add another teacher at Rose Hamilton. So this year we actually added 4 teachers at Centerville High School because the high school is growing rapidly. We're graduating around 100 students in the junior and senior class, but then your sophomore, freshman, 8th, and 7th grade all have over 140 students. So because of that, we can see the high school is growing rapidly, and we want to make sure our class sizes are small.
Right.
So we're definitely looking at trying to improve on just not the academic areas, but also the vocational areas, so to try to improve what we can produce for Wayne County, and hopefully the people will stay here because this is what we're here for, is trying to make Wayne County better and
Right.
for our citizens.
So we work on improving the educational system and make it a great place to live and great place to learn, and hopefully to work as well in the future and raise your children.
Yeah, and I think one of the challenges that we have had is that this past year we had 11 teachers retire. The previous year we had 8. So in the last 5 years we've had a lot of retirements, and these are the teachers that are actually a little younger than me. And, you know, they've been there a long time, and it's hard to replace experience.
Yes.
So you're replacing a lot of teachers that have 1, 2, 3, 4 years experience. My philosophy has been to hire not just the youngest teachers, but the best teachers we can. So we're still doing that at Centerville. But it's also important to, you know, try to get the ones that have the experience so that you're just not bringing in new teachers too. Because it takes 3, 4, 5 years of teaching to feel really comfortable in the classroom. To
kind of find that rhythm and find that
experiences that you've had to know how to respond to different situations that may occur. So that's been a big change here. I think we were looking at maybe half our teachers have been replaced in the last 5 years, and it's all because of retirements.
Which is a great problem to have on the one hand, because you have experienced teachers that are staying with the program, staying with the school system for a long term. So you have a lot of stability in the school system, as opposed to some of the other agencies in the state where they have a lot of turnover, but it's not because of retirement. It's short-term teachers. They come in, they don't make it to that 5-year hurdle and get to be stable anymore because of the challenges that they're facing. And we don't have that problem at Centerville.
Right. It's been pretty much the case that if you come to Centerville, if you do everything you're supposed to do, you stay at Centerville. It's a good place to work. And that experience, you just can't, you know, it's just one thing you just can't go out and get. You have to have somebody with experience. And so we've lost a lot of good teachers to retirement. It's not because they just said we can't stand it anymore. It's because they are just, you know, they're just getting to the age where somewhere between 55 and 60, and you know, so they're looking at different things to do.
It's a challenge to deal with a bunch of kids every day. It takes a lot of energy to do that.
And I think back a lot of times, because what I did back between 72 and 85 is really different with just even the teaching techniques with technology and everything. And of course, I'll even look at...
we didn't have whiteboards when I was in school. We had blackboards.
And I had a mimeograph machine that you cranked.
Oh, man, those things smelled.
Yeah. So, you know, that kind of technology is, they don't even know what those things are. No. But it is a whole different thing. And then I see what the principals today have to deal with, I hear. And it's a lot different than when I was assistant principal and principal. So there's a lot of different issues, new issues. School safety is one.
Right. That was exactly what came to mind when you said some of the issues that principals have to deal with today. We've had lots of stories of you know, some pretty extreme tragic events that have happened even in our own county, and then the prevalence of even cyberbullying. It's one thing to put up with a couple of kids fighting on the playground or something being said in the hallways at the high school, but it's another thing when it's happening online, completely almost hidden from the day-to-day interactions that you might have with the students. And so there has been a lot of change. How is Centerville-Abington Schools addressing the issues of school safety in and out of the school?
Well, one of the things we did this year, we hired a student resource officer. So that officer, Centerville grad, and his dad graduated from Centerville. I actually had him in class. But he's in all 4 buildings, is very mobile, and we're working with the Centerville Police Department on that. We're also, we've upgraded over the summer, all of our cameras. We've got cameras everywhere. A lot of that we've learned from this dentist situation here in Richmond, because the cameras in their building actually helped to confine and locate the person and directed the police officers where to go. So we updated our cameras entirely over this summer. We also put something on all of our windows inside and out in the classrooms too. It's called a 3M product. And so that somebody that does have a gun just can't go in and shoot out a window. This will keep the window from shattering. And then it's also framed, so it really takes them a while to kick it in or to ram it in or whatever. So this will try to keep people from coming in other doors, other windows inside. because they typically aren't coming in the front doors anymore. They're going in other doors. And then we're also doing the Rapture system. We're just beginning the training on that right now, which is what Richmond installed in all their buildings too, where anybody that comes in, they have to put in their driver's license. It does an instant background check on everybody. So we've instituted those 4 things this past summer to try to make security better at schools. So security is a concern. It's something we have to be aware of now. And in the old days, if you had a couple of students, having arguments or disagreements, I know the old principal said, well, at least we have Friday coming up to try to, it'll go away and all that. But now it seems like over the weekends is when, because of Facebook and all that, it gets stirred up more.
It ramps up.
Yeah, and then you have that to face on Monday mornings.
Right.
So, but
in addition to the security measures that you just mentioned, you also mentioned to me before the show some safety measures that are being taken on the buses. And so talk a little bit about those safety measures and the new buses that
all of our buses from now on, and we've purchased 2 buses this summer and a minibus, they all have seat belts on them. And that's working out real well. At first we thought, the students aren't going to cooperate, it's going to be a headache, but we send information out to the parents that are riding, the students that are riding the buses, and explain to the kids on the buses, and so it's working out very well. I myself drove a minibus to Northeastern for model legislature. I still sponsor some stuff for the students, and so I made sure that the kids were all belted in, and they did very well. So it's working out much better than we thought, and so that was a great. So far, it's working out real well.
And that's a plan for all future bus orderings. And you mentioned buses, and I noticed on the website that there's a bus replacement schedule and plan for anybody that's interested to go and find out how you're maintaining that technology and where the expenditures are to keep all the students that require bus transportation, but also for other activities where students might ride a bus for sporting events or, like you said, model legislature or other events.
And we keep our buses, they're in really good shape. Of course, they're inspected by the state, but we do have a bus replacement schedule. Like you said, it's online. Capital improvements is online. So we try to post everything that possibly could be of interest to parents online with our budgets and everything else. We try to be, I know the word is transparent, the current word, and we've always been that way. So we're very proud of the initiatives. We've got Mr. Campbell is our assistant superintendent, and he's in charge of busing maintenance, and he really loves buses, and he knows about buses, and so he's very good about keeping us updated. All of our buses have 2 cameras on them at least. And the cameras now are being placed in the middle of the buses on the ceiling instead of at the front and the back, because the front and the back you can't always see what's going on. So it's kind of a down look into the bus. So the new buses will have those too. So
all those things that nobody even dreamed of, 20 years ago even, that are now commonplace, and not only commonplace, but expected. Parents today are expecting those kinds of safety measures, those kinds of proactive engagement with the students on a daily basis. You mentioned the transparency and the website. What other ways can parents find out more information? How do they find out what's going on with the board or with the school in particular?
Again, you go to the webpage and you go under administration. We have all the board minutes on there. We have all the board agendas. Every school has a school improvement committee, and those agendas and minutes are placed on there. We also, every building has a change committee, which we meet once a month, and that's between the teachers and the administration. And so we keep communication going at all times. But the main thing is that you can get online to the administration, on the web page, and you can obtain that information. I'm impressed you even checked it out to find out about the school bus replacement. Most people don't even look at that type of stuff, but that's on there. And it goes out several years.
I find it interesting. I don't have time to attend school board meetings, but I am interested in the education. My son attends Centerville schools, and my daughter did, and so I'm interested in what's going on there. And I want to make sure that as a parent, that I'm informed as much as I can be about what's going on. And like I said, I don't have an opportunity to attend school board meetings on a regular basis. Are parents welcome at school board meetings, and when do those happen?
We have school board meetings normally twice a month. Once in a while, we'll have a special meeting like we did last month to approve the teacher contract for pay and other benefits. But yeah, they're every month on the second Wednesday of each month, second and fourth Wednesday. And so that's when the school board meetings are held. And we have a very open school board. 3 of them are former students of mine. At this level now, I was principal for all of them.
Okay.
But yeah, they were. It's been a very good board. They work very well together, and they meet, like I said, at least twice a month. And in the summer, when we're doing budgets, they meet a lot more. But we thoroughly go over the budgets and make sure that we're spending every dollar wisely in the best way we can, and everything is going to the students as much as possible.
We've talked about some of the educational challenges with retiring teachers, and we've talked a little bit about the change in standardized testing that's happened, and we've also talked about some of the changes in security and other concerns that have gone on. But what are some of the big challenges that you see coming up for Centerville schools over the next couple of years that people might want to get involved in or have a voice in?
Well, one of the things, we have had fairly stable enrollment for the last 3 years. Anywhere from 44 new students to 5 or 10 students, and that's important. We have to have stable improvement, and the stable improvement, the stable enrollment helps maintain the products and services that we have. One thing that we do have that we're very proud of is that we have a compensation schedule for teachers that still provides for an increase every year as an increment. And a lot of schools have had to go away from that and have to do stipends. So that makes it easier for us to attract teachers, because they want to come to Centerville, not only just because of the school system, but because of the way they're reimbursed and paid. So that, I'm a little old-fashioned on that, I know, but I think that is a key, because you hear now about how teacher salaries are low and people aren't wanting to get into the profession. And that's been something that our school board has very much supportive in. We've worked closely with the Teacher Association with. And so that's been kind of a cornerstone that we've kind of hung our hat on, because we do want to make sure that the teachers are provided economically as a profession. And it's very important for us to make sure of that. So with all these teachers that are retiring, we want to make sure we replace them with the best possible teachers. So a lot of teaching areas.
You don't get top quality teachers with low quality pay.
No.
Right. And that's one of the things that from my perspective as a parent and as a taxpayer, it makes a difference. If you have a lot of turnover, then the educational output is lower, because part of the stress for students is new teachers and figuring that out. And it's almost as difficult on the students to have new teachers as it is for a new teacher to go into a classroom. And so there's that dynamic of the classroom, if instability, that has a negative impact on scores as well. And so the more stability you have, the better the scores are, the more people know the teachers, and they get to like, and I'm going to have Mr. So-and-so next year, or Miss, my sister had Miss So-and-so as a teacher 2 years ago, and now I get to have her too, and I hope she doesn't say, why don't you get better grades?
Yeah, I think that stability is very important. And so like I said, when you're replacing as many teachers, a lot of them the areas are very tough to find: special ed, math, English. All of them are short, but those 3 are really tough. We haven't had a real problem replacing those because we still have a compensation schedule. It used to be called salary schedule, but you can't say that anymore. It has to be compensation schedule. But anyway, that seems to be one thing I think that we have, with the number of teachers of retiring, and we've had to add additional teachers, we've been able to reach that challenge by providing a salary structure and an environment over there that is really conducive to attracting teachers to our school system.
That's great. I've really enjoyed most of the teachers that my son has had, and I think that my children have enjoyed their teachers for the most part. There's always some kind of dynamic between students and teachers, but but for the most part, they have great memories with not only the teachers but also the administration, and they talk highly of the principals and vice principals and the office staff as well. So congratulations. As we come to the close of our program, is there anything that you'd like to close with to our viewers today?
No, it's just that I've always enjoyed working at Centerville. Of course, I've been there a long time. And so we just think that, if you're interested in moving to our school district or sending your student to our school district, contact one of the principals. If you're wanting to get involved in our school district, if you are a current parent, probably the best thing to do is to contact your principal of the building and ask, how can I be involved? Is there anything I can do? We're always looking for volunteers and involvement in whatever.
Boosters, athletic
oh
boosters,
my gosh, yes.
And,
yes.
And a lot of events going on.
Yep, a lot of things.
Phil Stevenson, Superintendent of Centerville-Abington Schools. Phil, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Okay,
Thanks
well,
again.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And thank you for watching. I encourage you to get connected. There's been information on the bottom of the screen scrolling about how you can connect with Centerville Schools, and you can also get there by visiting our website at waynet.org/cc, and we encourage you to do your part with Centerville Schools or with the school system that your youth are involved with. Also, please share our show. Visit waynet.org/cc for information about how you can share that with other people who may not have caught the show or who may not live in the area. I'm your host, Micheal Sweigart. On behalf of our producer, Jane Holman, the staff here at Whitewater Community Television, thanks for watching. We'll see you next month.